Hey guys, I did it, finally. And all this work has paid off, personally, probably not realistically. But anyways, I can finally present to you guys what were, in my opinion, the top 100 albums of 2018. There are a few important things to note, so I recommend you watch this portion of the video. First off, soundtrack albums for movies or musicals are not on this list, mostly because I don't know exactly where to place them. I don't have great comparisons to other musical or movie soundtracks. Some I can more than others, but because of those others, I'm just removing them from the list entirely. 5 of my favorite EPs will also be on this list, but I'm only going to give them a quick shout out since they deserve recognition. For honorable mentions, I'm going to show you the albums I never got around to listening to that I would have liked to include on my list if I had time to listen to them. So if you find your album on this collage and not on my list, please don't complain. I'm showing you, not telling you. I also have some notable runner-ups, which I listened to and enjoyed, but didn't quite make the list. I'm showing them here as well. Alright, now I will breeze by the albums I ranked 100 through 30, and I rank these albums based mainly on 3 things. That being, do I enjoy the album? Is it well put together to cover? And does the artist accomplish their goal or spread their message by making the album? There are, of course, other factors that go into whether I like an album or not, but I'm not super nitpicky about it. For album 30, all the way up to my top album of the year, I'll explain why I liked it a little more in depth. Also, there are flaws in this list. Nobody's perfect. I'm certainly not. I'm sorry. I don't think there are any major flaws, though, which is a good thing. There is a slight bias towards hip-hop and EDM, but that's just because that's what I listen to the most. But you will see I have branched out into other genres as well. Just a final reminder that this is my opinion, and I hope that you'll appreciate it, and I would love to discuss and compare my opinions to your opinions if possible, however that may be. That being said, let's hop right into it. The top 100 albums of 2018. Alright, I'm just going to breeze through these. The Neighborhood, hard to imagine the neighborhood ever changing. Flatbush Zombies, Vacation in Hell. Lil Wayne, The Carter 5. Arctic Monkeys, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. John Bellion, Glory Sound Prep. Interpol, Marauder. Moneybagg Yo, Too Heartless. T Grizzly, Still My Moment. 21 Savage, I Am Greater Than I Was. XXXTentacion, question mark. Post Malone, Beer Bongs and Bentleys. Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy. Puya, 5-5. I wanted to give a quick EP shout out to Meek Mill with his project Legends of Summer. Continuing on, we have Alice in Chains with Rain or Fog. Rich Brian, Amen. Florence and the Machine, High as Hope. Ty Dolla $ign and Jeremiah, My Tie. The Carters, Everything is Love. Let's Eat Grandma, I'm All Ears. Bozzy, Cosmic. Eminem, Kamikaze. Andrew WK, You're Not Alone. 88 Rising, Head in the Clouds. I want to give another EP shout out to Prison Religion for their extremely loud but beautiful I'm on the Wrong Planet. Then we got 7 by Beach House, Oath to Greedo, God Level, Ski Master Slump God, Stokely, and then a pleasant surprise from Ice Cube with Everything's Corrupt. Then we got Rolling Blackouts, Coastal Fever, Hope Downs, G-Herbo and Southside, Swervo, Vince Staples, FM, Serpent with Feet, Soil, Prime 2, Young Dreams, Waves to You, MGMT, Little Dark Age, Suicide Boys, I Want to Die in New Orleans, Sleep, The Sciences, Starface and MF Doom, Starface meets Metalface, Father John Misty, God's Favorite Customer, Dave Easton Styles P, Beloved, Spiritualized and Nothing Hurt, Ghost with Prequel, The 1975, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, Milo with Budding Ornithologists Are Weary of Tired Analogies, ASAP Rocky Testing, then another quick EP shout out to Raven Lene with her Crush project, then we got one of my favorite DJs, Don Diablo with Future, then we got Brockhampton, Iridescence, Anderson .Paak, Oxnard, T.I., Dime Trap, Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap, Mariah Carey, Caution. Then starting off the top 50, we have George Clanton with Slide, Mick Jenkins, Pieces of a Man, Nas, Nasir, 21 Pilots with Trench, Death Grips, Year of the Snitch, Young Fathers, Cocoa Sugar, The Internet, Hive Mind, Kanye West with Ye, Blood Orange with Negro Swan, Smino, Noir, Young the Giant, Mirror Master, Tiana Taylor, Keep That Same Energy, Reggie Snow, Dear Annie, Masego, Lady, Rosalia with El Mal Querer. Then we have a delightful surprise from Kane Brown with Experiment. Then we have J Balvin with Vibras, Jeff Tweedy with Warm, Jim the DiCaprio 2. I wanted to give another EP shout out to Hozier with Nina Cried Power. And then we have Soccer Mommy with Clean. Number 30 on this list is going to go to Sweetener by Ariana Grande. Sweetener is an awesome project. Ari's an awesome singer, and I love everything Pharrell did on this project, and the whole production team did a great job too. Number 29 goes to Charlie Puth with his record Voice Notes. My opinion on Charlie Puth changed dramatically when the single Attention hit the radio, and it ended up becoming one of my favorite songs of 2017. As a result, Charlie Puth became one of my favorite pop artists today. He has basically mastered what he does for pop music on this album, and everything on this album just fits this really cool vibe, and I dig it a lot. Number 28 goes to an album that I really overlooked initially, but now I can't stop replaying, and that's Playboi Carti's Die Lit. The appeal of this album certainly does not come from Carti's lyricism, so if you listen to music for lyrics, this album certainly isn't for you. However, the beats on this thing, accompanied by his signature ad-libs, have never been better up until this point. Honestly, producer Pierre Bourne should be given a lot of credit because I think his experimental yet simplistic beats are the reason why this thing is so enjoyable. At number 27, we have Not All Heroes Wear Capes by producer Metro Boomin. Aside from the intro track and an unfortunate waste of a Kodak Black feature, basically all of the songs on here are instant hits. Not All Heroes Wear Capes lives and breathes as one entire thing, and Metro Boomin did a superb job of producing this. It's such an enjoyable collection of songs. At number 26, we have Mac Miller's final album in his lifetime, Swimming. I started getting into Mac music around when Good AM came out, and since The Divine Feminine and this project, there's only been improvement in his music. He's mastered his flow, and the instrumentals on this thing match his vocals so well. There are a lot of awesome songs on this record, and it would have been great to see what he had in stock for the future, and perhaps we may get a taste of that, hopefully, with a posthumous release. In the 25 spot is K.O.D. by the very talented rapper J. Cole. At the end of 2016, he dropped what, in my opinion, was a very underrated project, For Your Eyes Only, which was filled with excellent production and some very personal and effective songwriting. In a similar fashion, K.O.D. is also filled with awesome production, and this time is more culturally conscious. On top of that, I really appreciate this album especially, not only because some of the songs are astoundingly good, but he also did this entire project almost entirely himself, from songwriting to singing to producing. So props to J. Cole for this one. There's a lot to like. At number 24, we have Tierra Whack with her project Whack World. Conceptually, this thing is really neat. There are 15 tracks, each with a 1-minute time limit, and most of the songs leave you begging for more as they abruptly end. Songs like Black Nails and Fruit Salad have some awesome lyrics, and songs like Cable Guy and Hungry Hippo have some really catchy beats. I would also like to mention that you can watch the visual for this album cover to cover on YouTube, and it's equally as awesome of an experience. I'd highly recommend you go watch that. In the 23 spot, we have Getter's new album, Visceral. The production on this thing is just honestly beautiful, and just kind of made me gawk at some of the more simplistic and grimy stuff he's made in the past. Some of the sounds he uses, both for ambience and for the drops on some of these songs, just give me the chills. I highly recommend that you listen to this, especially if you're into EDM. At number 22, we have a record. It's great. It's amazing. It's Isolation by Kali Uchis. Kali Uchis has a beautiful voice, one of which I first discovered through her guest features with Daniel Caesar and Tyler the Creator. I really like all the instrumental decisions her and her producers made. Isolation is honestly just one of those projects where you don't know whether to dance until your body gives out, or just cry in the presence of its beauty.
21 on this list
is going to go to Mitski with Be the Cowboy. Songwriting-wise, this is likely one of the best albums within the past couple years, and taking everything else into account, it's safe to say that this album is pretty incredible. Mitski's voice and her instrumental decisions somewhat remind me of St. Vincent's Mass Seduction, one of my favorite albums of 2017. While the album might not be as hard-hitting and lyrically suggestive as Mass Seduction was, this project still matches, if not succeeds, what St. Vincent accomplished in terms of songwriting, composition, and structure. The 20 spot is going to go to a discovery I'm very glad I made, and that would be Fantastic by Claptone. I discovered Claptone after I found that he was climbing up the top 100 DJs chart from DJ Mag, and I had to investigate why. To my pleasure, he has become one of my favorite DJs, not only in house, but in EDM in general. As the name implies, Fantastic contains a group of really fascinating and mystical house tracks, and the bass lines and the drum patterns on this thing are like guaranteed to get you tapping your foot.
Okay, so unfortunately this isn't the only time that this happens, but iMovie lost some of the footage throughout this video, so I'm just going to do a little quick voiceover here. My number 19 album of the year has to go to 1.5 by Amine. I love the energy on this thing. I listen to it a lot. I love Amine's charisma and all that. It's a really good project all in all. And I wanted to give another shout out to Judas Priest for their Firepower project, which came as a very decent surprise to me, and it's a great album, and it would have fit here on this list.
At number 18, we have a project I absolutely raved about when I first listened to it, and that's Nicholas Jar's 2012 to 2017, released under the moniker Against All Logic. I love this thing to death. I Never Dream is an excellent follow-up to the intro song, and there's something about the drum pattern on this thing that's just so mesmerizing. And throughout the rest of the album, we have some similarly excellent drum patterns, some haunting vocal samples, and a superb choice of synthesizers that make for a really awesome house project. The 17th spot goes to post-punk indie rock band Parquet Courts with their powerful and in-your-face album, Wide Awake. With this project specifically, Parquet Courts lays down an awesome instrumental performance, and the vocals match the lyrics very well. There are some really corny lines in here, but it makes the album all the more fun. Honestly, if I had a list of most fun albums of 2018, this would be the top of the list. 16th on my list is a very underrated album in my opinion, and that's Egypt Station by Paul McCartney. Some of these songs are just so replayable. I Don't Know, Come On To Me, and Dominoes come to mind. Paul McCartney is an excellent instrumental composer. Along with that, his lyrics, the way he reminisces of a time when he was young and in love, and how he still feels some of that in him, it's really delightful, and this whole thing just comes together very nicely. At number 15, we have Car Seat Headrest with his rework of a 2012 project, Twin Fantasy. I may not have listened to the original one for comparison, but this thing now that we have is awesome. When there are underwhelming moments on this album, which are very, very infrequent, it is quickly made up for with another wonderful surprise. The guitar riffs and the sick drums on this thing make this project all the more enjoyable. Number 14 has to go to the wildly experimental album Veteran by one of my new favorite artists, JPEG Mafia. It's almost as if the entire internet, deep web included, were put into the form of an album. Baby I'm Bleeding, which is one of my favorite songs of the year, has this really loud vocal chop that just works excellently as a synth. The other cuts on this record are the result of risky sound choice, but it all works out really well in the end.
Okay, so the footage was also lost for my number 13 album of the year, which was Astroworld by Travis Scott. I appreciate this album a lot because of the trippy instrumentals throughout this thing, along with some amazing guest features along the lines of Frank Ocean, Stevie Wonder, Tame Impala, Thundercat, and John Mayer. Overall, this is a high-quality record, and I appreciate what Travis and the producers did here on this record. So believe it or not only did the original footage for this get deleted, but the replacement footage also got deleted. So I'm just kind of recording this in post-editing. You can tell because I'm using a different microphone. But I wanted to give a quick shout-out to Sophie with her project, Oil of Every Pearl's Onion Sides. It uses a mix of very cool ethereal synths along with very grimy bass sounds. Her voice is beautiful, and the whole thing overall is a great listen.
The 12th spot is going to go to a project that I was anticipating going into 2018 with completely different expectations that were still very much exceeded. And that's Some Rap Songs by Earl Sweatshirt. The vocals on this thing are distorted, but are filled with some genius double entendres and serious bars that reflect his mental health issues that he's been dealing with since the passing of his father. This thing is super experimental and uses a lot of unique and unheard sounds that gives it much more individuality and beauty. And at number 11, we have the extremely talented rapper Pusha T with his project Daytona. The bars on this thing are just so
good.
They're heavily assisted with absolutely banger beats from Kanye. Each of these songs just gets me so excited when they come on my playlist, and Pusha T's signature voice is a very nice break from the conventional sounding rappers today. My final EP shoutout is going to go to Omar Apollo with his indie R&B alternative project, Stereo. I hope Omar Apollo's name can get heard more soon because I'm in love with his bedroom studio sound. Thank you if you've watched everything up to this point. We made it. We're in the top 10. Let's go. We got this. At number 10, we have Melon Fantano's 2018 album of the year, You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters. This thing is just utterly terrifying. The first song on this thing is easily one of the scariest songs I've ever listened to, yet I can't stop listening to it. The rest of the record has a really unique sound that just kept me stupefied while my ears were being bombarded with slamming drums and abrasive guitar riffs. This stood out from basically every other album, and it's a new sound for me that I actually really dig.
Okay, so this is the final time that the voiceover thing will be happening, but my number 9 project of the year has to go to No Name with Room 25. I love the vibe on this thing. It's very relaxed and chill, and No Name is an excellent rapper. As a lyricist, she's phenomenal, and she uses a lot of phrases that you kind of have to wrap your head around, but overall, this is an excellent project.
Number 8 on this list goes to an electronic album that just simply blew me away, and that's Singularity by John Hopkins. There aren't any words on this thing, but it still feels like it's speaking to you. Certain songs on here, like Cosm, are stunningly gorgeous ambient tracks. At the same time, though, we have songs like Emerald Rush and Neon Pattern Drum that progress into these drop-style drum patterns that are just so heavy-hitting. I don't know if I've heard anything quite this beautiful in electronic music, and it's up there for being one of the more beautiful works in music in years. At number 7, we have a classical album. Yes, a classical album. But please don't skip this one because I have some legitimate reasons for why this is so high up on the list. The album is titled Wolastokiak
Lintawakanawa
by Jeremy Dutcher. The title of this album, along with all of the beautifully sung lyrics by Dutcher, are in a language that only 100 members of a native tribe in Canada speak fluently. This album is a true revival of a dying culture, and he brings up these really haunting samples from phonograph-recorded chants and songs from his ancestors over a century ago. Instrumentally, this entire thing is beautifully composed, and it contains some really surprising rock, electronic, and jazz elements that just left me completely wowed. Not only did so much work go into this thing, but it also came out to be one of my favorite records to date. The number 6 album on this list is going to go to the explosive collaborative project from Kanye West and Kid Cudi, Kids See Ghosts. This thing is seriously banger after banger. This project has its fair share of both trippy sung rap performances and ballad-like tunes, and yet still hold together as a very strong album. And on top of that, I appreciate Kanye and Kid Cudi conveying their respective mental health issues and public controversies. At number 5 on this list is definitely one of my more unpopular opinions that I've had, and that's J-Rock's Redemption. Some people find this record a little underwhelming and bland, but I couldn't agree any less. Intro song The Bloodiest, along with tracks Rotation 1/12 and Wow Freestyle, have incredible beats, and J-Rock just spits absolute flames. And the more emotional tracks, like For What It's Worth, Knock It Off, and Out of Sight, Out of Mind featuring J. Cole, J-Rock still uses fire rhymes over more low-key beats to demonstrate how much he appreciates his second chance at life after a scary motorcycle accident. At number 4, we have Dirty Computer by Janelle Monáe. My opinion on this project went from really good to really, really almost unbelievably good. There are some songs on this record like Crazy Classic Life, Pink, and Americans that certainly stand out to me, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the songs on this project aren't great, because they truly are. The poppy and almost disco and indie rock inspired instrumentals on this thing match Monáe and her guest vocalist very well. So not only is this thing societally aware, it's phenomenal. At number 3 on this list, we have an album that seriously left my mouth agape in awe the first time I listened to it, and that's Taboo by Denzel Curry. Each and every song on this record has a different approach, from the more gloomy intro title song Taboo to bass-heavy songs like Perks and the more rhythmic Black Balloons, one of my favorite songs of 2018. None of these songs are fillers, and each of them fits the dark vibe that the album cover portrays. Denzel Curry is and shall continue to be considered as one of the best lyricists in rap right now, and he's slowly getting more and more recognition, and his fan base, myself included, is very excited about that. Alright, so I want to briefly go over what my top 2 albums were from the previous years. In 2016, the number 2 album was 22 A Million by Bon Iver, and my favorite album of 2016 was Blonde by Frank Ocean. In 2017, my second favorite album of the year was Big Fish Theory by Vince Staples, and my favorite album of the year was Damn by Kendrick Lamar. And here we go. In 2018, my number 2 album of the year is Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. I can't say enough about how good this album is. Songs like Mother and Space Cowboy were designed to make you tear up, while tracks like Velvet Elvis and High Horse fit right into party playlists. I hope other country music artists follow footsteps of Casey in this one, because this thing was just beautiful, honestly. And finally, this is it. My number 1 album of 2018. Unquestionably my favorite. It's meant a lot to me over the past 6 months or so. It's Care For Me by Saba. My liking for this album grew not only from getting to meet him in person when he performed at my school, but also the lack of presence on year-end lists for a lot of publications. That upset me quite a bit. Considering the scores it was getting and the support from certain publications and online reviewers, I still can't believe how much people are sleeping on this project. I love every single one of these songs on this project. Each of them takes you into another bend of Saba's emotional journey. The jazzy instrumentals on this project are relentlessly hypnotic and are accompanied by Saba's incredible ability to rap. Some of the highlights on this thing include the 2-part track Busy/Sirens, the incredible beats on both Life and Calligraphy, the outro portion of Fighter, and the different stylistic approaches that Saba takes on Log Out with featured guest Chance the Rapper. On top of that, the track Prom/King is one of the most captivating storytelling moments in all of 2018, and perhaps all of which I've ever heard in music. All in all, Saba definitely deserved number 1 for this record, and it's in the right place on my list. That's the list. Top 100 albums, done. 2018. I've been listening to a lot of 2019 albums. I'm very excited for the year. We already have a lot of good projects out, and I hope to listen to the 2018 stuff that I didn't quite get around to. And yeah, that's the list. Thank you so much for watching.